In this chapter, we'll discuss about SARFAESI. SARFAESI is an act, okay? The full form is Securitization and Reconstruction of Financial Assets and Enforcement of Security Interest Act. It was a landmark act. It allows banks and financial institutions to auction properties where borrowers fail to repay the loans. Because earlier, prior to the enactment of SARFAESI, it was very difficult for banks, even though they had the security of the companies. When the companies didn't pay loans, it was difficult for them to sell off the properties. But now, because of SARFAESI Act, banks have no more freedom in auctioning these properties. So this allows banks to reduce the NPS. Okay. So what you must have seen this, though you might not know that it is SARFAESI, but definitely in some newspapers you might have seen some advertisements where banks make an announcement that they are going to auction these and so properties. Okay, so interested public can come and bid for it. Okay, so that comes under the SARFAESI, and as per rules, banks should advertise such SARFAESI sales in at least one English and one regional newspaper 30 days before the auction. Then there is an appeal structure in SARFAESI Act. Say for example, the borrower can appeal. What are the options for the borrower has in case he's not happy with the SARFAESI Act? One is he can get a stay order from DRT against the auction and sale of the properties. Remember the case can't be filed in civil courts. Okay, it has to be in DRT, or the case can be fought in DRT. And if DRT verdict is also unhappy to the borrower, then they can go for debt recovery appellate tribunal. So SARFAESI Act provides three alternative methods for recovery of NPS. One is securitization, one is asset reconstruction, and another is enforcement of security. That is what the name is. Okay, it's a long name, SARFAESI, but these are the components: securitization, asset reconstruction, and enforcement of security. So all these are without the intervention of court or tribunal. Then there is a fundamental difference between DRT Act and SARFAESI Act. Okay, DRT Act provides for recovery of debts of banks and financial institutions through quasi-judicial tribunals called debt recovery tribunals, whereas SARFAESI Act is without intervention of judicial process. The banks can directly recover the debts. That is the fundamental difference. And banks and financial institutions both can recover any debt to DRTs, but only secured debts, that is debts which are backed by some security, underlying security like mortgage, hypothecation charge, assignment, they can be recovered under SARFAESI. Then another difference is banks and financial institutions can recover any debts more than 10 lakhs of DRTs, whereas under SARFAESI it's more than 1 lakh. Then in case of appeal, the appeal against the order of DRT will be done in debt recovery appellate tribunal, whereas SARFAESI will be challenged before DRT. So to put in summary, so in case there are some bad loans NPS, so what steps do banks take? First of all, banks will try to resolve it by means of debt restructuring mechanism. Okay, restructuring means the bank will try to modify, say, the date of payment, the installment amount. It might reduce or extend the period of repayment and reduce the interest rate, for example. They'll try to somehow resolve it within the perimeter of the formal banking structure. But not all loans are restructured. There are some criteria like first of all, the company should still be running, and it should be technically feasible and economically viable to make the payment. And third, the borrower should be cooperative. And in all these conditions are met, then bank will try to restructure the payment. Then if the restructuring is not applicable or restructuring has failed, okay, bank will then will try to recover it straight away by filing a suit in through the SARFAESI Act. Okay, as per the Act, bank can take the physical possession of the property and sell it in accordance with certain procedures. Now, apart from that, bank will also put pressure on the borrower to pay the dues. Okay, and if it's not cooperative, he'll be not allowed to take further loans in other banks also. Then, as we discussed, the defaulter list will be prepared. It will be sent to RBI, and that will be circulated among all banks. CIBIL score will be affected. Okay, and if it is found that the borrower has siphoned off or diverted the funds, his name can also appear in the willful defaulters list, in which case no other bank will sanction further loans. So all this is a process where bank follows to recover a bad loans. Once the loan turns bad, these are the steps it will take. So the questions in review prepared are: what is full form of SARFAESI? How does SARFAESI help banks? It helps bank by allowing them to auction the properties without the judicial intervention. What is appeal structure in SARFAESI Act? That is DRT. What are the alternative methods for recovery of NPS provided on SARFAESI? And what are some differences between DRT Act and SARFAESI Act?